Hello everybody, you're watching Channel 1, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to repair those slightly deeper scratches and scuffs you may get on your car, along with a review of these colour matched paint sprays that you can buy. So here is the kit I have bought. It was about £25 I think for a primer, a supposed colour matched can of paint for my car, and some clear top coat. Now, admission time. All the photos I'd taken of repairing a crack in this piece of trim on the boot of my car. Somehow my phone is saying it can't open them, and my computer is saying it's not a recognised file type, so they are gone forever. So I'm left with this, where, as I say, there was a crack in this piece of boot trim, which I filled and sanded what I thought was flat. And now, with any painting job, preparation is the key to getting a decent result. Not that historically I ever have, but what you want to do initially is give the area you're going to be working on a good clean with some car shampoo, some soapy water, and then what I do as well is I will spray over the area with a brake cleaner or a carb cleaner like this, just to degrease the area completely. Now I'm doing this outdoors with no protection, so probably one of the worst possible ways of doing any automotive painting, particularly on large scale, but I might get away with it on a small patch like this. And this area is now, as good as all intensive purposes, clean. And because I don't want to be getting spray all over the place, I've got some masking tape and some brown paper here, just to mask off the area that I want to work on. And here we have the slightly damaged area masked up, ready for me to start putting some paint on. Of which the first coat is going to be the supplied primer. It generally comes in your greys, reds and blacks. It's important to get the right one for your car, because it will change the colour of the top coat. Here we have the first layer of that primer sprayed on, and over the years I've spoke to many people of different expertise levels in painting cars, and the general rule of thumb is don't spray big thick coats on, because it has a much greater chance of putting runs in the paint, and it does take a longer time to dry, and generally doesn't give you a better finish. So doing more thinner layers is preferable, really. So after that first coat has pretty much dried, after about 5 or so minutes, didn't take particularly long being outside. There was a bit of a breeze and it was quite warm. I spray on a second coat, and you can see now it is looking fairly uniform in colour. Then, as I said at the start of the video, preparation is the key to getting a good finish with your paint. If you've got lumps and bumps in your primer, well, guess what? Your top coat's going to have lumps and bumps in too. So, using some 1200 wet and dry sandpaper and some water here, it's time just to give it a light sanding, just to get any slight imperfections out of this layer of the primer. And it was only really after this bit of sanding, it doesn't show up very well, if at all, in this photo, but believe me, there was a little bump in the repair work that I'd done. And there is no point in me carrying on just adding layers of paint to try and even things out, I suppose, with that bump. It's because it's just going to get messy. So I'll continue to sand until I believe the area is now flat. At which point I give it another coat of primer, just to get an even colour finish over that area. And now, happy that it is flat, I start sanding over again using the 1200 wet and dry, just to remove the sharp edges of the primer. And you do just want this sort of soft wavy edge over where you're going to be painting, so that I can now move my masking tape a little bit further back, so I get the top coat as I'm getting close to applying it now, so it's not only covering the primer but spreading out that little bit wider. And here we have the colour code that is on my car, EZW, which I am assured by the supplier is correct for my car, although car colours do fade over time and they can look different on plastic bodywork compared to metal bodywork, again particularly over time as it reacts. So using rattle cans is very difficult to actually get a really good colour match for your car. But just like with the primer, I start building this paint up layer by layer, of which these series of photos just show me building it up until I get a nice consistent finish in the paint. And then I remove the masking tape and have a panic attack, because my colour match paint really doesn't seem to match terribly well. So this is where I need to start blending in, and as you can see, I've removed the masking tape marking off the edges of my repair, and I've just gone across the repair area, making sure I get more again on the middle and going a little bit lighter as you get a bit further out. I only need to go kind of 5 or 6 inches either side of that repair is all I've done on this. And then it's back with the wet and dry sandpaper and plenty of water, but just giving it a very light running over, to remove any slight imperfections, anything bit of dust that might have got picked up in the paint as I've laid these layers over, and to remove some of the you'll feel on the edges where you've got a light spray, it just feels a little bit rough, and just trying to smooth that all out. And you can see here that that surface finish now is a lot more uniform than after my spraying over, blending in. And now we get to the bit I hate, because it is where things normally go horrifically wrong for me. The top coat, the lacquer. Applying this is just the same as the other layers, spraying it on, building it up. If it starts to feel a little bit rough, just lightly go over it again with some wet and dry paper, plenty of water. It may start looking dull, but the next layer you put over will bring that shine back. And now, far from being perfect, the repair doesn't look too bad. Certainly from rattle cans, I'm fairly impressed with how this has turned out. So now I've got a few photos of the front of the car, quite how someone has managed to get scuffs across the front of the bumper rather than down the side. I'm not too sure, but this is the damage that I'm going to try and fix here, and I use exactly the same painting process as before. The one thing I do get to show you here though is I have put some flexible bumper filler over the scratches, because again, it doesn't show too well in the pictures. They really were quite deep. It's not something that you could just spray over here. And exactly as with the rear of the car, flat it down with some wet and dry sandpaper, and mask the area off you want to paint, give it a good clean, and then you're ready to start putting some primer on, which I have now done here. Let's say exactly as before, a little bit of flattening with sandpaper. Once that's done, get your top coat on, spray that little bit wider than you need to, get your lacquer, start spraying your lacquer on, and you should then end up with something like this. And while the fresh lacquer does highlight how dull the lower part of the bumper has become over time, for a fairly cheap repair, just with some spray cans, that hasn't turned out too badly. If your car is your pride and joy and you want it to look perfect, do take it to a body shop. But even a repair like this will probably cost you 10 times what it's cost me just doing it with some spray cans. So now, review time. This particular kit, I'd give it, say, a 3 out of 5. It's done what it's supposed to. I never expected professional level finish with this type of product, because you don't really professionally spray out of a spray can. And I'm not a professional body painter. But it has done what it's supposed to. You know, you can't really tell where the repairs were, even if the colour is slightly different. It does blend in fairly well. So yeah, it's done what it's supposed to, reasonably priced, and give fairly good results. So I can't not give it an acceptable 3 out of 5. And now all that is left for me to do is thank you very much for watching. If this has been of some use to you and give you the confidence to tackle these things on your own, do please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm always on here trying to give little helps and tips on how to do all sorts of things, even if at the moment a lot of them are automotive related. But whether you subscribe or not, thank you very much for watching. Do take care, stay safe. Peace, everybody.